We're going to make a start. So you are very welcome to the Four Corners Festival. My name is Iona, and I'm here as part of the Four Corners team. And just as it says in the name, Four Corners, we hope to join together people from all corners of the city. Tonight we want you to hear new voices and to encounter new people. So I'm going to start off by just asking for a show of hands. So who's here from the north of the city? Oh, okay. South? Always a cheer from the south. East? Always a cheer from the east. Wow. And west. Who's here from West Belfast? Yeah, the rowdiest crowd. And then who's here from outside of Belfast you're not from? Okay, so the majority. The theme of this year's festival is journey, and in all meanings of the word. And we're delighted and grateful to be here in Knock Methodist Centre, if you could all find it, because I got a bit lost here too. And we're delighted to have with us a group of wonderful people who are going to share with us about a very special journey that they made in November, joining together two corners of the world. So thank you to Tony Macaulay, to Emmanuel Trinity, Denise from Alternatives, Joel and Billy Joe, and those joining us online all the way from Uganda, Edward, TK Francis and Jalia. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start. In the unlikely event of an evacuation, the stewards in these bright green hoodies, or bright teal hoodies, you're not going to miss us. We'll direct you to the nearest safe exit. So thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope you enjoy your evening. And I'm going to hand over to Trinity to start us off. So thank you.
Good boy. Good evening, everybody. Yes, the pleasure to be here. I'm still accustomed to the weather. I came from really nice weather in Nairobi, but I'm here. And I actually moved my jackets, actually everything, just so that I don't piece it. But I was like that pride. So that it's really a blessing to be really so you. I'm so lucky to have so many friends in this building, and I'm sorry for them because I'm gonna tell my story again for those people who have had it before. And also I'm happy to see people who have my color complexion. Yes, well for them in the building. It's gonna be an amazing night, and I really want to maybe give you a little bit of context of what is gonna happen tonight. First of all, I love young people, and my ministry and the business is really connected and founded on the foundation that young people have the potential to change communities, to change generations, and what if we can invest in those young people? What would be the return on investment? And so previously, last year, something amazing happened. Dr. Tony was thinking about this idea, okay, what if we could bring some people from, is it Sandy Row, to Uganda and say, hey, okay. And when I went to see Sandy Row, I realized, yes, we could be having issues in Africa, we could be having issues in America, everywhere in the world. There's so many things that bring us together than those that separate us. And I thought, what if we could just share all our experiences from these guys who came, but also from me who came from Kosovo. So I'm going to present, I'm going to be sharing from my story from the slums. I really grew up in one of the worst slums in Kampala, called Kosovo. How many of you guys have heard of Kosovo? Which Kosovo are you talking about? The one in Africa? You've been there? Oh, okay, I know some people have been to Kosovo. Anyways, this Kosovo was named after the Kosovo of Yugoslavia because of the similarities of the injustices that were happening. So, crime, killings, and everything. So the people in my community say, this is not better than Kosovo of Yugoslavia, so they named it Kosovo. So that was one of the worst slums. So I ended up growing up there, starting in 1992, way back, for those of who are young. But that's when my story began. Ending up in the slums was quite a shift in my life. I always tell people I wasn't a street child. I wasn't born in a very, very poor family. But when circumstances happened, my family ended up in one of these
slum, and my mom lost everything. She couldn't put me through school. And that journey, that's me and her, when she was trying to do everything to support the kid. But quickly enough, because she didn't have enough money, I didn't join the school. And for kids who didn't join school in Kosovo, they ended up on the streets, they ended up on the gangs and stuff like that. And so at the age of 9, I was recruited to be part of a gang. And this is really going to reflect on how communities shape us and how many young people across the world are really shaped by the communities or the surrounding they grow up in. The environments really factor in a lot of things. So quickly enough, my story turned from this kid that was protected by her mother, as you've seen, into a kid now who was on the streets doing all sorts of things. I was recruited with 6 of my friends, and within about 6 months, we lost about 3 of our friends through gang fights and everything. And you could not quit the gang. Once you're in, you're in. That's the rule of the gang. You're there for life. And for 4 years of my life, I was stuck on these streets with one of my friends called Levikson. I don't know, some of you guys have heard him, the Cheeky Bombe boy. We were stuck on the streets until a miracle happened for us. So I love this story because it's so connected to the story of Northern Ireland. A group of missionaries came from Northern Ireland through Fields of Life, and were trying to build a school in the slums of Kosovo. And as they were going throughout the community, they stumbled upon us. Miss Pastor Deo Mwanje came out and said, "These are some of the boys that I want to rescue." And they were rescued. This is 2 weeks after they got us to this church. We were good dancers. These are our new clothes, white. You know, you don't imagine a kid in the slum is putting on white. These clothes were very new, right? That started off our journey of transformation. But for me, when I was rescued, I was asked one important thing with a lady called Roberta Wilkin from the Republic of Ireland, that what's one thing that they could give me that I never go back on the streets. And I told them, if you give me a computer, I'll never go back on the streets. And so they did. I was given a gift of a computer by the Wilkins family, they're building a block for treasured kids, Kampala, Uganda. And that computer became my biggest escape from the gangs. And I started training myself to become a designer, self-taught using the internet. I gave my life to Christ, and I joined this community. And my journey of transformation took quite a long time. You know, it didn't happen at once. Me and my friend were all crazy. We went back to the community outside, back to the church, because the church had food, right? You know, so there's food, porridge. So you come on Friday, you're around with the porridge and everything, and then on Saturday you go do other things. But over time, God captured our hearts into ministry, and we really started serving young people. So, long story short, I'm going to leave because of time. For 6 years of my life, so many things happened. I got off these streets. I started serving in the church, and most importantly, I also became one of the best graphic designers. But people don't know that. But I became so good at what I was doing that I was able to be recruited by Coca-Cola. Yes, as a junior designer. So I started working with this agent that was working with Coca-Cola. And that's the time I started realizing the biggest disconnection from on how communities shape us. So quickly enough, I came from this community slum into working in a corporate environment. And my life completely changed. I was earning about $300 besides the gigs. I was able to support my mom. My friend, Levikson, became one of the biggest, made his first single in 2012, and our lives changed completely. But amidst this change, so many of my friends that were stuck in the slums, their life stayed the same. In other words, they were just going down the hill every other day as our life was progressing, just because of the shift of an environment that happened to us. And for me, that's when I started developing a strong sense of responsibility to do something about it. And there's a disclaimer here. When I really thought about helping my community, I fell into the same trap of charity. We're going to be disclosing that. When I thought, okay, how can I help friends in my community? What I really started was a feeding program. And it's not a bad thing, but that's what I knew that I could do to change my community. But quickly enough, God revealed a very, very deep system that happened on how my life transformed. And I realized that it wasn't all about the charity and the giving and all those things that I received, but also it was about the things that I myself were able to develop, that I was able to add value, get a job, and get out of the slums. And so I realized, okay, if you're going to give kids in the slum charity, they will only depend on how much charity we can give them. They will never, ever get to help themselves. Oh, did it just get off? We are back. All right. So one day, after 6 months with Coca-Cola, I quit my job. And I went back to the slums. And the idea was for me to go and help young people in the slums. And that was a very big shift. I wasn't an entrepreneur in my family. We had not built any business. I didn't have any connections. But this verse that I read from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10 really shifted a lot of things in my heart. That as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. All of us, we had received gifts. And for me, I realized, you know what? I received the gift of life, skills, I had some savings, and that really pushed me back to go and do something about it. And so I started, with one boy, one computer, had my one computer, and one big vision, and one big goal to bring opportunities for young people across Africa. So the name Era 92 became my company, and this is a very prophetic name. If you could realize that I was born in 1992, and Era was a time that I dedicated here on earth to serve young people across Africa and the entire world. Now, it's not going to stop on the entire Africa. So today, Era 92 is a redemptive holding company that is changing stories of young people in the slums because we see them differently. And that for us is a disclaimer, is that many organizations, non-profits, see young people as people with needs. We need to help young people in the slums. Governments see us as a burden. You can see riots in Africa when, they beat up young people when they try to rise and shut them down. Businesses also sometimes see these young people as a cost. We try to choose a different model and lens to see young people. So today we see young people as worthwhile clients, valuable employees. All our companies are related to employing young people. And the other part, we see these young people as ambitious entrepreneurs who can go on and replicate the idea of job creation. And we do this through Era 92 Group, which is a holding company. We have Era 92 Elevate, which is a skills training program that is serving young people in other sub-communities. We have Era 92 Creative, that is a platform that connects these graduates to local and global employment opportunities. And then we also finance them to start their own small businesses. And all this work right now is happening through what we call the Era 92 Hub, which is a space that creates belonging, catalyzes creativity, and invests in the lives of young people. So our model is very, very simple. So we are training these young people into skills and creating jobs. We are discipling them because it's not just about the skill sets, but the values we instill in them. And then the capital we give them for them to be able to launch their careers. So to date, God has been faithful. We've seen over 4,000 and we've created over 4,500 skill jobs for young people in the slums. We have a team of about 130 employees across all the different companies. We have seen over 600 young people give their life to Christ since 2018. And over $10 million right now in earned revenue. So this is money that young people earn through the jobs that we help them create. And we've financed over 1,200 assets to these young people across 6 communities in Uganda. And this is a picture I love most. Most of the times, 90% of my life I'm doing some things like this, speaking, pitching, and everything. But whenever I go back home, I make sure that I feel my spirit. And the way I feel my spirit or get re-energized is to go back to the young people that are in the same space that I was in 20 years ago. And when I look at the state they are in and what you could offer them, I always get inspired because I know I was one of the worst more than them. But with the rightful community, rightful skill sets, and support, these young people can become the next Trinity. And so that's my dedication to these young people. And these are the lives of the young people that I've seen change over the communities. Hundreds of them are working with global companies right now. We have funded hundreds of businesses for women in the slums, over thousands of women. And at any given time today, we are reaching over 1,500 young people through our services across Uganda. And recently, we tried to change the game, right? And for most of the people, when we talk about slums, so some of you could have expected to show pictures of the slums, right? But this building is just 4 minutes away from the slum that I grew up in. And what we really wanted to create was a space that changes the mindset of young people, but also creates an environment for them to flourish. If you go out in the slums today and you say, okay, I'm going to train young people in the slums, pretty much there's no infrastructure for you to develop the rightful talent in those slums. So what we had to do was to bring these state-of-the-art spaces that you could find in Silicon Valley, right in the middle of the slums. So this building was launched last year, and right now it's serving over 700 young people. That's the inside of it. We have training spaces, co-working spaces, we have fellowship spaces, we have event spaces where we carry out events for young people to flourish. And I don't know if this video can show, but I'll try to play it for you so that you see the entire space. Sorry, there's no music. No, don't worry about it. In the co-working spaces, so that young people can access, world-class spacing. That's it. So, there are some of the things I've learned over the years. In the work that we've been doing at Terra 92. And those are some of the things I'm going to share with you in the next couple of 5 minutes. And I hope it changes our mindset. There is 2 things I think about today. We need to create a mindset shift in everything that you're doing. For people who are thinking about Africa, for people who are thinking about their communities. And I can tell you that I always believe that mindset can shift. It's different to say, okay, we need a new mindset about thinking about Africa, but we need to commit ourselves to shift our mind. And that takes a deliberate action for us to ask different questions when you're intervening into questions. And one story I have is of Dr. Tony. When he came down to Africa, I don't know, in 2018, and he really had a very, very clear quest that today I don't want to see kids on the streets. Do you have any young people in the slums that are doing amazing stories? Is that right, what you're doing? And he was looking for a different story to tell from Africa. And he actually had a paper. So that's how I met him. He said, okay, if you're looking for such people, we know only one guy. He's in the middle of the slums of Kosovo. And somehow when he came to Kosovo, I was also doing my work. Thank God I was on duty that day. And I was with a young guy, trying to take him to R92. And Dr. Tony met me. And from there, we've had this friendship and partnership for many, many years. But that was led by a new quest, by a mindset shift, that he wanted to look for something new within the communities that otherwise people think nothing good comes out of those communities. So today, the idea is about rethinking development and learning across borders. For so many times when people go to missions in Uganda, they are, I don't know, there's so many things they're trying to do. And for so many times, it does not bring the impact we want to create. It creates a feel-good moment whereby, okay, I've done something good to Africa, but has it really left a lasting impact to the people that you've gone to see? And last October, we had this experience, and I'm going to show you 6 pictures here. And I want you to tell me who is in lead of these groups, right? I think you know this guy. I heard he's popular here in Belfast. Right? There's that picture, there's that picture, there's that picture, there's that picture, there's that picture. Can you tell who was in charge of those workshops? They were all together. And I wasn't in Uganda this time when this all was happening. And I didn't know what Dr. Tony was trying to achieve with the mission, but something really magical happened when these young people came together within one building, and just to see the similarities they had. The kids here in Sandy Row, the challenges they have, they weren't so much different from the challenges in Africa. And when they came together, they came up with amazing solutions. They're going to tell you about them. But for me, that brought a reflection on what you actually have to be thinking about going to these places. And I wrote this before those guys stuff, but one of the things that I've always believed in, that prosperity or change is what people do for themselves. And charity is what we do for the people. So think about it. If you go to a community and say, you know what, oh, we went and gave out some water filters, we went and gave out some books for the people, you're falling in a mindset of charity. It's great, but it's what you're doing for the people. True change has only happened in places where people have done things for themselves. When I look back in my life, I know I've received so many gifts. Charity. You know, Samaritan's Pass, they used to park cars in our compound and give us Samaritan's Pass, everything. But when you look on the trails of my life and development, it's the things that I've been able to do, or people have enabled me to do, that has created Era 92 today. And that leads us to this statement, that today, in Africa, poverty alleviation is not the same as creating prosperity. Most of the problems we're dealing in Africa are really caused by poverty. But when we come with our interventions, for most times, they are nursing the wounds of poverty. It's like we are nursing the wounds of, also the symptoms of poverty. That's like lack of basic needs. People don't have school fees, we build them schools, but we've not empowered them to have enough money to take their kids to school. We've not empowered those families to have enough money to have health care. And in other words, we'll spend years and years doing charity for them. So we have to reverse engineer that. We have to do the hard things. And the hard thing is getting into a mindset shift to create prosperity for people to take ownership of their own lives. And that takes time. So, if you ever went out to Africa and you wanted to do anything to help people, I don't know what your intentions were, but we need to ask ourselves, what are the true intentions of poverty? What are the true intentions of our intervention? And always ask people, And I'm going to ask this audience. Should I? What's the true intention of charity? What's your intentionality of helping people? I know you've done. Yes.
To help people.
To help people.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's go. I'm going to be pointing out. Yes. Okay. Diane, I know you've helped a lot of people in Africa. You've supported many entrepreneurs. What's your true intention in doing that? Thank you. Another one. Hey, you, yes.
People have to have an hour tell how to fix over it. Is it since one you're not gonna try it? Maybe what one take the you said possible. We want the one chat as a barrier. The Bangladesh a lot. But people are not. But that is always right. And it's just like an order, so like that. But those are present in the war. It's just way up to each other. What supposed to be there to try to help her. What have been of us. Do it, man. Here for us.
To do that.
So that was this one of the plans that we're going to get.
Good. Thank you. Stephen.
Show you love.
To what?
Show you love.
To show your love. Okay, I'm going to help you guys. Your answers are great, but they fall short. The true intention of charity is to end the need for charity. So, if we all have different motives and everything, and they are valid. But when we've done our research, we realize that if you really are helping people not for your own sake, because 60% of the people who help, they're helping because sometimes they're wounded. They're helping because sometimes they want to show that they're the one helping. It is serving them. What we're here today is we need to change. If you really want to help somebody, today if I really want to help a young person, is I want to help them to a level that they don't need me the next year. And that will take a different approach. So, human flourishing will not come from fixing poverty. And that's the reality. So we really have to, I know these are like really very complex things to reverse, but it's what we really need to hear. If you really want to see someone flourishing, and if you know the meaning of flourishing, it won't come from giving them some things or your charity. It will come from a different way. So, we've done a few things, but in my perspective as an edit, one of our foundation things we've found out that, okay, work, non-charity, is the solution to poverty. And I've gone to rooms everywhere across the world, and I've asked people this simple thing. Okay, why are people poor? Let's do one. It's a rapid fire. Why are people poor? System. Why are people poor? Why are people poor? They don't have the skills. Yes, you've been. Why are people poor?
Lack of opportunity.
Okay, why are people poor?
Colonization and exploitation.
Okay, all those are great answers. Thank you, guys. Okay, we understood that the first form of poverty is lack of money, right? People are poor because they don't have money. Yes. And then we'll go on and ask another question. Where does money come from? Work. Where does money come from? Work. So where does work come from?
Well, can I say that people are always working,
Yeah.
but it's paid work?
Yeah.
Or very
Yeah. Meaningful work. Yeah. So where does work come from? Education. Government? Society? Okay, we've learned that the majority of work, okay, where does your work come from? Who do you work for? You're working for yourself. You started a business. Nice. Some people work for government. But anywhere in the world, the biggest number of jobs come from business. You're working for someone who started a company, right? And so we've learned that, yes, all of us, we are working because we have a job. We are able to provide for our families because of a job. So what if in poor communities, we also push for people to have that urgency, for them to either have the skills that someone mentioned, the rightful skills to be employed, because some people don't have it, or the ability for them to start their own businesses. Let's do it. All right. All right, guys. I think that's it. We went on and realized, business create jobs, and then jobs fight poverty, at least at scale. Because there are two types of poverty. I won't go into that. It will be a lecture, but there are two types of poverty. But absolute poverty can be solved by work and jobs. And then the spiritual poverty, that's why we bring in Christ to nourish our hearts. All right. So these are a few things we need to rest thinking about in terms of our mindset shift. Enterprise instead of aid. We need to create sustainable solutions, not charity. Wherever we are going, please think about that. We need to think of a partnership over partnerism. That's why I like these guys were able to co-create solutions within their house. That's what we need to see. Don't go to a community and impose a solution wherever you got it from, but co-create with those people in those communities. And we would love to see that. So that things come not from up to down, right? Mutual flourishing instead of poverty alleviation. How can you create an environment where even those people you're supporting can equally flourish and not depend on you? And then strength based on division mindset. Focus on the capabilities of the people that you're supporting. What do they really have in their hands that you can amplify for them to be able to stand on their own? And then let these be relationships, not transactions. Let me tell you, for the relationships that I've had in this building that have trickled to potentially money and everything, it wasn't a transaction at first, Mr. Richard has supported us for many years. He has recommended so many people. He might not have given me money, but the relationship we had for years is amazing. Dr. Tony, I will say, people in Uganda think you're the one funding everything. Say, because you're everywhere. But because of the relationship, it's not about the transaction today, right? So long-term trust really, really builds people. For me, when I hear that these people are behind me, it pushes me to the next level. So I already shared this story, and this is what I'm going to end up with. This is a story. This is the girl that I first worked with when I first went back to the slums. She's called Megan. And when I met Megan, she was in a very, very dire situation. She really needed charity. First of all, she had to take care of 6 siblings because her dad, who was a builder, fell off the building and broke his spinal cord. And this girl had to raise money to feed the children, the young siblings, and also raise medical money to take care of the dad. And when she went to the people around the community, they told her, the only solution you can do right now is to go and sell your body for $5. So when Megan came to me, she really needed help. And this is a disclaimer. There is a place for charity. We're not here to sell a charity. It's the baddest thing ever. There is. So what I did, I was able to support this girl with her medical bills and some food at home. But I invited her to join our program. So she did. She joined the program, and she proved to me that she was one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. She was able to learn things on her own. Quickly enough, she was able to crush it. After 4 months, she graduated, and she became our first employee. And fast forward, this girl has done amazing. From just doing that, she started now training other young people. From that, she started doing more. And as we speak today, this girl, she's the chief of operations for Era 92 Creative. So I want you to bring this in reflection. This is the God that typically, if we decided we could say, why don't we feed your family? Why don't you come for food packages and to the food bank every day to support your family? But what we did, we understood there was a need for immediate help. And immediate after that was a need for long-term support. And long-term support comes from investing in people for a long time. She's been with us since 2017. So change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. So she's doing amazing. That's why I'm here today. That's why I was in Nairobi, because she's handling the business. And other people are handling the business. So I have the freedom to come and be here. That's what we call human flourishing. She's able to do what God has called her to do. I'm able to do what God has called me to do. And she doesn't depend on me. And she leaves today, she'll get more money than I'm paying her because of her skill sets. But as I'm speaking right now, Megan has been able to start a poultry business for her dad. And she's been able to support her entire family. Just one girl. So, no anywhere in Africa, or not anywhere else in the world, one job can change a family tree. That's what it is in Africa. When I got my job, everything in my family changed. We didn't get any support from USA nowhere. Just one job in Africa can break the cycle of poverty for generations. And if you ever think about doing and helping people in Africa, think about areas where you can help people stand on their own, where they can be able to earn for themselves. But to give you some strength and energy, and the last word I have for you today is that everything I've shared today is a process. It's not an event. And for many times, the charity we do or the outreaches we do, they are designed in a form of event. You went down to Africa, you did something. That's why I like this young gentleman. He said, how can we keep this going? Because it takes time. You never know that the kids you met, you guys are very young, in the next 5 years, you have a business together where you're importing things from avocado from Africa to Belfast. These are the things that we need to be thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Trinity. It's been an honour and a privilege to walk alongside Trinity as he's been developing this work over the past, since I've known you, over the past 8 years. And one of the things that I've wanted to do for a long time, for years, was to give young people from Northern Ireland an opportunity to see some of this and experience what it's possible to do in a community which has much fewer resources than any of our communities, even our communities that have the least resources. And so for a long time, I'd thought, what would happen if we got a group of young people from here to go there, not to go out as a charity to help the poor Africans, but actually to go out and learn and be inspired by the mindset of people like Trinity and his team and the young people in the slums in Kampala. And so that was the motivation. It was to help young people here, actually, to create that mind shift, that mindset shift that Trinity was talking about here, that is so prevalent in Trinity's work and Trinity's community. And so, so we're going to tell you a little bit about it. You're going to see a little about it. But to start with, we're going to show you 2 videos. The first video is a song by Trinity's friend Levikson, who he's mentioned, who grew up in the same area and is now one of the biggest singers in Uganda. And this song is very relevant because it's about the challenges for youth in Uganda. Really tells the story. And then after that, you're going to see a video of our visit, a quick video that'll give you an overview of what we did in the week that we were there. And then I'm going to invite the panel to come up, and we're going to get the young people from Katanga slum on Zoom, and we're going to tell you all about it. Okay?
Thank you.
kati bannange banyumiza kiki tambula nyina ebiseemu ye student ajamulisa ekibanda can you slap me for any naddole muba bisi
n'omuwayo ebitaano mbeera yantabu.
Kamya yali mugezi nnyo bwe yali asoma mu kibiina nga buli mwana ekimutaaza yetayinza kigwa yeresa disco nasula mu kulivaizinga yasoma bulungi ne bamutikkira neyesunga okukola naye omulimu gwabula byonna gye yagenda okukusaba era diguli ye yamusala ennaku neruma kati yafuuka toereta tenda nti mukikuubo majaza sasula bamubanja n'akazigo mwasula ekimunyiiza agaali agasiru mu kibiina galina emirimu gavuga mpya mwana wa gondi yajuna omubuuza agamba mbeera ekimonyamonya mbeera omulimu sikwagala naye mbeera ekikunkozesa mbeera
wabula ndudde muganiye wandimuyisizaamu kasi
ediga yambala ng'omukazi ekiro neyeyita serida nafera abasajja obiwulira ebintu byayogera ediga babafera banange bisasa kusebya abasajja nali nabyekuba bampe chips ne vodka baby nse saagala kunjiwa ayishuwa togenda kutuka yekosa abayitika ne bazimuwa abamukomu ne bakuba naye era ediga olwona ng'akwata wiiki ye ng'andayofera ng'abadamu nga bakuba bw'omubuuza gamba mbeera ekimbonyabonya mbeera bankuba naye mbeera nzirayo olwa mbeera
naliko mu mbeera yesu yanzija mu mbeera
naliko mu mbeera yesu nanzija mu mbeera nange sobola yesu
sobola muganda wange sobola kukyasa mbeera sobola muganda wange sobola muganda wange byonna ebyankuziba asobola kukyusa embeera
My name is Tony Macaulay and I have been visiting Kampala since 2018, supporting Trinity in the development of Area 92 over those years. And one of the things I've wanted to do for a long time was to bring some young people from Belfast to come and see the work that Area 92 is doing with young people from the slums in Kampala. And so we're here, we've arrived this week, and I'm really delighted. There are 5 young people from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and we've had a lovely warm welcome here in the amazing
Era 92 hub, and our young people are going to be meeting young people from Elevate here, and they're going to be working together, getting to know each other.
The experiences that I've experienced in Uganda and in Kampala and Katanga have been amazing. The spirit of the people is the most thing that's made me realise how good of a place this is. There is the poor in Katanga and the slums, but the people in Katanga have so much high hopes, dreams, and they're all reaching for them together, trying to build. That is what Era 92 has done.
It's a wonderful experience for our young people, and my main reason for wanting them to come here is to be inspired by the amazing work of Era 92, so that they'll bring ideas from here in Uganda back home and maybe to do something similar back in our country.
So that tells you. So about 3 years ago, I shared this vision in my church, and a gentleman who I didn't know happened to be there that day, and he's here tonight, Tom Aiken. And Tom and I had a chat afterwards, and I told him about this idea, and Tom said to me, if you bring young people from Sandy Row, I will fund this. So I'd like to thank Tom for making it all happen. And so I'd like to introduce the panel. So you know, I spoke to various groups in Sandy Row, and the pastor Burns there was helpful, and the women's group in Sandy Row were helpful, but we couldn't find a group until I met Denise from Alternatives. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Denise Hughes from Alternatives. We made it happen, okay? And with the young people from Alternatives, and that was Billy Joe. And also Joel Keys. And hopefully on Zoom, we'll have our friends from Uganda. And let's see how that's looking. They're all kind of coming on Zoom from, I think, their phones in Katanga and Kampala, in different parts of Uganda. So let's see who has managed to join us. And they're going to be listening, and then they're going to ask a few of them a few questions as well. No one's turned their camera on yet. Well, so if you can hear me, in Uganda, Oliotia, can you turn your cameras on, please, if you want to. But maybe we start with Denise first of all. So Denise, could you tell us why you were interested immediately in this project, and then what it is that we actually did when we got there?
Okay. I think for me, there's always something about travel and international travel, especially for young people from Belfast. And I really just wanted them to get out of the area and out of their own heads. And I thought, what an opportunity to go to see a place that we knew we were going to see poverty. We knew it was going to be relative. We knew, the children that lived in an area that, by the way, I grew up in. So it's not just that I worked there. It's an area I was raised in. So I kind of had an idea of the levels of poverty, and I knew what we were going to see was going to be very, very different. And that, for me, was part of the challenge, was about contextualizing poverty. But also, you've got to remember the effects of some of the recent race riots in the area that I lived and work in. So there was also something for me about introducing some of these young people to some people who are very different, who look very different, who come from a very different place, and opening up that. So as far as I was concerned, that for me was the big driver, was getting them out of their own heads, thinking about poverty in terms of what poverty is for others, not just for them, and how people were overcoming some of those challenges, but also about meeting people who had very different lived experiences to them. So that was initially. When we got there, oh wow, and I don't want to take away from what the guys will tell you, but we met friends. I can't said any other way. We met an incredible bunch of people, some of whom are up there now. And people, I don't know, there was just a connection. Hey guys.
We can see you.
We met these incredible people doing incredible work and with massive heart and spirit and enthusiasm, and they just caught us up in it. So, yeah, it was one of the best opportunities of my life, I have to be honest.
Thank you, Denise. And Billy Joe, what did you do every day? Tell us what was the program? Like, what happened?
Sorry, my voice is a wee bit away from football earlier, but whenever we went over, like, to be honest, we didn't know what to expect. Well, I definitely didn't. I'm from Sandy Row personally myself, so to be offered the opportunity to go to Africa, Uganda, it's never crossed my mind, and it ceased to amaze me. Whenever we went there, it was like we went over the challenges that you face and being youthful, like talking about our own experiences and realising how similar they are, but how different they are. Even in, yes, the places are completely different, and there's so much poverty. But the challenges we face is like youth. It's so similar, and I think that there's what was so good as the group because we really worked together with it. So whenever we were talking about situations that we face, the people of Katanga were like, "What? You face that too?" And we did, and we really connected over it, and we got to talk about it. There was so much stuff that happened, like going to the slums and all. It's a different type of scene, but the things we done was mainly pointing out challenges and working out as a team how to improve them, and we were really successful in the way we did it as a team. God's sake.
Okay, so for 5 days, we met together. We started off as strangers, but you ended up as good friends with the young people from Katanga. And in the Katanga slum, the Elevate booth is a converted shipping container into a digital classroom. And I think you saw us standing in front of it in photograph. And then the young people from there came to the hub every day, and we worked together in the hub doing the things that Billy Joe has just been telling us about.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's it. So, Jalia, can you hear me? Can you unmute, Jalia? Yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good, good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Jalia, could you tell us about your experience of working with the young people from Belfast that week, what you did together, and when we came? I remember we went and visited Katanga, and you brought us to your home one day. Could you tell us about the experience from your perspective?
Oh, well, it was quite eye-opening and mind-opening. Well, because they were able to interact so well, I did not believe that it would work for both. I heard from Belka to these arts and interact with projects. Together, I use from Katanga. Well, for me, it was quite eye-opening and helped me educate mindset. And I'm very complex. You travel that distance to come in this slum area to see how they are to do some things, to interact with us. That was quite mind-blowing.
Thank you, Jalia. Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joel, so what did you create together? Trinity said, it was about you were equals, you were working together, and it was about co-creation. What is it you actually created?
Yeah, so we had two teams, and we spent a week basically working out the similarities between challenges we share. And then on the final day, we had not even 24 hours, probably, well, 5 or 6 hours to come up with a solution and make it and have it ready. So we had two teams and similar ideas. Our group basically had this idea. Well, a big problem in Uganda is that a lot of them are skilled. I think we think that what they need is educating. When a lot of them are fully qualified, they've graduated. One of the guys, Mark, that we were with, he's a licensed psychologist.
Mark's here, up in the top left-hand corner.
Top left. So a lot of it is not necessarily that these people need training or more skills that they can't afford. It's that the ones that have already got the training or the ones that have already got the skills need opportunities. So our website was kind of like a hub. You could go sign up, become a member, and then it would direct you and teach you how to use international sites like Fiverr or Etsy. So you from your home in Uganda, if you've got the skills, you don't need to wait for a job to come along. You can go right on there and start making money. I think your guys' idea was pretty similar, but on the flip, where you were looking at the skills and educating people, and I'll let you tell them about yours.
Ours was called Belfast Katanga Initiative, and it was like a website that would give you opportunities on learning different skills and training how to but it would be a course on how to improve on them skills and later become hopefully better at them. But as a group, we just went over it really well. We started as it was just A3 sheets. It was whenever we all met, we wrote down the challenges, what we sort of ballparked, just sort of threw ideas out, and then just put it in the more detailed on each section each time, and then narrowed it down, and then put in a website on how to help.
And we've got the website, we can show you it. This is the website, and this was completely co-created by the young people from Katanga and Belfast, and the Belfast Katanga Initiative, and they designed the website as well. So the young people from Katanga who were learning these skills of web design in the shipping container in the Elevate booth worked with the young people from Belfast and created this beautiful website, which talks about the whole initiative. So this is what they produced together, and they want to keep this going. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. So there's the team all together. So if we could, if we could go back to Zoom, and TK Francis, will you? Could you tell us about how you became involved in Elevate? First of all, how you first became involved in Elevate, and your experience of Elevate, and then meeting the young people from Belfast.
Greetings, everyone. How I don't Elevate, I was not my points only. A friend had was said, what's that? Announced it really of the students. I had graduated from information technology, but I did you. And I had get good attitude. Those can say maybe again and go and do film photography because I was very passionate about the photography, photography. So I was involved. I started schooling and I went for I didn't want to speak my grade. I was also motivated to do so to get that immediately. And the Katanga only very helpless because I didn't start schooling. It's called the place very amazing. People here, the tutors, the hub manager, the very students. very opinion that something to learn, such a learning right now. Like, so they get some eat something like that to be equal and be sure that the skill that I would are really working. And then, no, I just must be, I think about such good about yet something about it. I was also ready to get involved in, and that's how we met the Belfast team. With your, I think they invited us to create groups to build a group, and my experience with them, it was first of all, I got to see see that the secret challenges as Mr. Trinity spoke about it earlier. We get to have the same challenges. The brainstorming was how to solve these challenges, and we came together as young men or young boys, so we could find solutions. And it was really something hatching up to see people from Katanga and people from Belfast joining themselves together to bring out a solution to impact other youths.
Thank you, TK Francis. Thank you. And is Mark? Are you there, Mark? Tell us what did you think of these people from Belfast?
Can I still sit?
Yes. So, I don't know what so we have met really. These were great people. Papa, and you were so. And no, that's I out of his. But just Papa, back. Well, bro, that's good. So sure. You don't know how
We can't hear you very well, Mark. We're catching it. We can't hear everything you've said for the connection, but we heard a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. Is Edward there? Is Edward there? Edward, there you are. Hi, Edward.
Hi.
How are you? Edward also invited us to his home and was very kind to introduce us to his family. Edward, tell us about what you do and your experience of working with young people from Belfast.
Okay. First of all, my name is Edward. I'm a father of 2 kids, and I'm a proud dad. When people of Belfast came to my community, I thought it was something unusual. But this, it opened my eyes that we could still change our communities. With the interactions that I had been returned up to my family, and I met my sister who was pregnant. And this was a cycle everybody youth who are living in our society. That the system was programmed for us to be in the same situation. When you go out, either you get somebody pregnant or you are made pregnant. So hopes of us up children to get jobs and everything is something hard. But through the interactions we had, I had in me a voice inside me telling that raise up and raise the voice of your community. This is high time we can stop this, equip these people, teach them. After you have taught them, equip them, then deploy them to go and make a change in their communities. And this is what LLM has been doing in their lives. They have equipped me. Now they are going out to go and make a change in my community.
Congratulations.
I have now on my cameras and my phone. I can now volunteer to give a voice of the voiceless. As we made that one site to be a bridge of the people of Belfast and people in Katanga. Through this we shall communicate and join our voices. Take those hearts so that we can change the mindset of our people. We are not poor, but just our mindset, which must be vigilant for us to grab a better living. So thank you, Port Belfast, for awakening us out. We no longer live modelers, but we know with our talk of mindset, we shall change the universe. Our subject.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Edward. And we thank the people of Katanga for all you did for us too. Joel, what difference has this experience made to you? What would you say? What's been the impact on you?
I think for me, they're definitely their mindset. Like we had that week, and a large number of the people in our teams are from slums, so they're going home every day. We're going home to our hotel room. They're going back to their slums, but you wouldn't know it from talking to them. They're not coming in the next day and complaining about all of the problems as they would be entitled to do, and as you would expect. They're coming in business-brained. What solutions can we come up with? And I think one thing like we've talked about before about here in Northern Ireland is our reliance on grants and things. Like Northern Ireland wouldn't survive without non-profit and volunteer work, and yet so much of that relies on grants, and so much of those people's time is spent documenting things and getting their next application ready. Over there, you're given a week and you're given a problem and you're told to fix it, and not once, correct me if I'm wrong, did any of the young people from Uganda say anything along the lines of, oh, we can't do that, or, well, we're going to need this first, or we're going to need that first. It was just, how can we do it? And we got the websites built. We had people there that were able to code them up, the copyright, all people from slums, all people that we were able to do that with nothing. We didn't get given thousands of pounds at the start, or community grants, or we weren't missing resources. It was just a mindset and people there together willing to come up with something.
Mm-hmm. And what difference has it made in your life, would you say, Billy Joe?
I would agree with Joel. The mindset, as I said, like I said in my video, like there's something about the people of Uganda. There's like a spark, and it sparks you too. Like it just brings it in another part of your life where, whenever you're back here, you just want to help everyone in the best way you can. I don't know what way I'm going to do that. I'm hoping Denise is our leading, but it's completely changed my mindset on the way of just life in general, and being like cease to mate, set the standards high and then blow past them.
Brilliant. And Denise, yes. Obviously, you're supporting that, and like we agreed from the very outset, this wasn't just going to be a one-off trip. So what's happening now? What are the next steps?
Well, Billy Joe has been connected to Alternatives for about 10 years, eight or 9 years anyway, and he's been part of group work that we've done. And from day one, we saw something special. Joel has come to us quite recently, but we're not letting go of him. So for me, and obviously when we were in Kampala and Katanga, and what Trinity's trying to do is incredible. And our young people are not so much interested in, I suppose, the technology end of it, but there is something about, well, what are they interested in? So 3 out of the 5, there's something, I'm seeing something in them in terms of the next generation, certainly of youth workers in Belfast. So my dream, and what I'm going to try and encourage them to do, is to go on that path, because I think the 2 young men here and one of the young women, the other 2 just aren't interested. They have other life plans, but they want to be engaged. They want to be part of whatever we do, but they don't want to be leaders in it. These 3 are going to be the leaders. And I want to see them developed as restorative practitioners, as youth workers, as people who are going to make a difference for not only their own generation, but the next generation to come behind that. So for me, this is the legacy piece. It's these people.
Yeah. We've even talked about an Elevate booth in Sandy Row. Can we open it to the audience now? If anyone would like to ask Trinity or any of the panel or the young people in Katanga, any of us, any questions?
I guess mine is not a question. It is the comment. This is just simply amazing. And it reminds me, when you're talking, thank you. When you're talking about mindset, one of our famous sons of Jamaica had this to say: emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And that's what we are seeing. So thank you, young people, because what it means is that you have got a story to tell, and to tell the community here from that personal experience. So I am just so excited by what I have heard from our brother who's set stuff up over there, and also from the young people here and those on Zoom. Well done. I feel so proud to be listening to your stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, could I just say something, a wee reflection, and I do want to say this because the atmosphere and the culture and what we walked into in Kampala and in Katanga is down to Trinity. It's about the culture that he has created, and it is about how he values people, and that was infectious. And I think if we've taken anything back, it is that. It is the worth and the value of people regardless of their income or their social status. And yeah, it was just infectious. So, I mean, it's all down to this man.
Yes, David. Before David speaks, could I also say we have a beautiful Ugandan community in Belfast, and David and Bruno are part of that, and as well as other African brothers and sisters like George from South Sudan. And when some of you arrived, you heard the wonderful drums. Well, that was David and Bruno. And at the end, when we're having our cup of tea at the end, they're going to play again. And if you want to have a go, they will teach you to play some Ugandan drums. David.
Thank you very much. I was just encouraged to see the team from Uganda there. And also, I saw a lady called, what's her name?
Jalia.
That one?
Yes.
Jalia.
Yes.
Jalia. How does Jalia cope? I think they're Muslim. And how are you coping with the Christian influence or presence in your situation there? And what is the strategy or the fear or the excitement? What can you learn or what can you tell the rest of the people you are living with in a different community, Muslim and Christian?
Well, of course, I guess I was a bit scared, but the Burundi, with the air and everything, they don't mind about that. For them, they are dedicated to healing that is minor reality. Yet, we were made Muslim to the program. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
Well, joke.
Trinity, where art thou? Oh, there, sorry. I mean, what you said earlier about charity, I mean, I think people were being polite. We give to charity because it makes us feel better. And that's the truth. So how can we make our charitable giving better in that case? How can we make it more productive and longer lasting? And you know, the church I'm from is as guilty as all the others of we're just sending out money to Africa.
Can I help me? So direct. I feel like I already hinted on it. Thank you so much for that genuine question. I think everything really starts from us rewiring what has been fed to us. And many times charity flows to bad news. Or we had kids they don't have water and all that stuff. Charity can actually have a very big impact if it's wired towards developing people rather than keeping them in the same situation. So I think it's going to start with us really asking the thing, what is my true intention for this person? Let's start with one person. You want to help one human being. And I've seen these examples, even today, of people who've sponsored children for 16 years. And they've called me, Trinity, what do I do for my son in Kampala? He graduated, I've been sponsoring him, but right now he's depending on me, and they're sending them some upkeep. So that means that person, when they did in the early stages, it was feeling good to have this kid in school, sending them 30 pounds, right? But they didn't see ahead. When this lady makes 20 years, how are they going to survive without me? And so it's going to start with a true intention. If your true intention is to end the need for charity for that person, it's going to channel your funding towards a different motive for that person. And also for people who are doing charity, as I said, charity has a space in whatever we are doing in development work, but it has a timeline. So I have this example of someone. I want to be honest with you guys, is that this mindset shift does not end with you guys. It also happens on our side, right? So when I started Era 92, a guy gave me a loan for $6,000. And when he gave me the loan, I told myself, this, you know Muzungu, guys? Muzungu is a white person in Uganda. I said, this Muzungu is going to forgive me this money, right? Because he's giving, $6,000, he's going to forgive me. So I had the mindset that after some months, he's going to say, oh, Trinity, you're doing amazing work. I've forgiven you. So I also had the mindset of dependence to this person. This wasn't the case. This guy was different. After 1 year, he told me, my guy, I gave you my money. I need my money back. That shifted me. Imagine if he just gave me that money. I would have gone on to expect that if someone else gives me money, he's going to forgive me. I'm going to be dependent on them. Within 1 year, I had to pay back the loan. And that shifted the way I ran Era 92. Today, I've received over $500,000 in debt, which I've paid back for Era 92. But it started from this guy, his intention was to, first of all, give me the loan, but also to help me understand that I need to be a good steward of that money and pay it back. So if we're helping people, we need not to stop on the aspect of us doing that charity right now, but also be hard on those people. Say, I'm helping you for 1 year. Within 1 year, I want to be able to do this thing. And then push them. If you love someone, you're going to push them to do the right thing. In charity, we don't do that. So I feel like, yeah, it's a bit of complex, but in every situation, you have to put yourself in a mindset. What is the true intention? What I'm helping this person for 2 years. The next 2 years, I want them to be on this level. And then in 5 years, I want them to stand on their own. Yeah, thank you.
And maybe if I could say something from sort of a Northern Ireland perspective on that. So, we have set up a Northern Ireland Elevate 92 charity to support this work. And we also have set up as part of, there's a Era 92 limited company under that. But we haven't been doing fundraising with that. And I should say some of the board members are here. Stephen Blevins and Joy Haddon and Diane Holt are here tonight. And Richard's been very helpful to us to get things set up as well. But actually, so we don't really do fundraising. We're still going to try and get some grants, even though you survive without grants. We're going to try. However, what I do is I encourage people to, if they're looking for a new website, to go to Era 92. If they want some leaflets designed, go to Era 92. And I'm constantly basically directing business to Era 92. So it's not fundraising, it's business. And it's not, we'll give them the business because they need help. No. The quality, the business is there because of the quality of the work that these young people produce. And also because the value for money of the cost, it's better value for money than getting it done locally. So, for services like videography and, we outsource marketing to companies in USA and UK, and for websites and things like that. We're doing business, basically.
Yeah. Yes, but there is also knowing that the business is doing good business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people want to do business because they know the good the business is doing. Yeah.
Can I turn my mic on? Hello, check 1 2. Okay. Also, so in every area, just to go back to his question, is that if you put that yourself in a mindset. So for us, we also developed a model where we have a room for where charity works for us. So our funding model is like this: we use income to create jobs and sustain our work. So if we've not received any donation in the UK, we are good. We can fund our work, we can keep it going. The second form of funding we use philanthropy, which is donation, to build infrastructure. So, for example, we're building that hub, and 40% of that money was funded by people. But imagine the impact of someone who invested in that building. So one of our investor or donor, we call them investor. One of our investors was introduced by Richard. It was Peter Vardy. I think if you saw the videos, he was honored to be, to have his image in that building. But he invested in something that is going to impact lives for 20 years ahead. And his donation, if it's $50,000 or $90,000, it's not going into feeding people, but it's going to building people for the next 5 years. So we received the donation, we built the building, and the building is going to change lives 20 years ahead. Charity does not do that. And then the final part of our funding model is impact investment. If we receive debt, you can give us your money and we pay it back to you with an interest. And we can use that money to develop and provide more loans for young people in Africa. So in those aspects, you can choose to give us money, we give it back to you. You can choose to donate into infrastructure, which will create a lasting impact, or give us work. That's our sweetest spot, yes.
So my question is to you, Billy Joe, Joel and Denise, and I want to use a phrase that Trinity used a number of times tonight, human flourishing. So it's a simple and yet a very challenging question, which is, what if human flourishing was really flourishing in Sandy Row? What would Sandy Row look like?
Father Martin, I grew up there, and to me, the flourishing is in the strength of the community and the strength of some of those bonds and that sense of people and place and that sense of pride, a working class pride. And it was one of the things that blew me away about Katanga, was that all those young people in the slums didn't want to earn money to leave the slum. They wanted to earn money to make their lives and other people's lives in the slum and to make the slum better. And that was a huge takeaway for us in terms of thinking about Sandy Row, Donegal Pass, Donegal Road, the village, and how do we be better in ourselves to be better for our people, our community, our society, all of that. How do we retain all of that hope, all of that energy, and to pass it on and encourage it in others? So that for me was the big takeaway is yes, how do we do that? Or how do we do it better? Or how do we do it more?
Yeah, Denise completely right there. I was saying it like computer misuse was one of the things we talked about in Katanga with the Katanga ones. Like computer misuse in Era 92, they'll use their computers to make websites, learn how to develop websites, edit, videography, everything like that there, which is amazing. Where like me, whenever I first ever got on a laptop, learned how to do this, I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching all that, a complete misuse of it. Where if I had sat them 4 years learning how to make websites, doing the same as what they do in Katanga, it would be really beneficial. Where I see it even in my nephews and nieces, they all go on their phone and they're just wanting to play Roblox or games or anything. You try and teach it, but if you try and teach them like how to do stuff, they're not really as interested. Whereas in Katanga and Uganda, they're thriving to learn, and trying to bring that back here. Denise has said it. It's one thing that we're aiming to do. Don't know where the next step is, but just from the feeling of the people and the vibe and everything that it given me, I hope that I'm able to sort of stir people in a way where every step they take is working on themselves, and then from there work beyond.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things would be like I relate a lot to what you say about how you're not poor little people coming asking for help. And I think, I'm just up the road from Sandy Row and Kampala, and I certainly feel like oftentimes when organisations or people want to help young people in my areas, you do get a sense of it's like what can we do to help the poor little working class estate guys? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's there is already greatness in those areas. There's already a lot of it, and I've seen it because when you say to someone, you've got ideas that can change this place, they do not believe you. Young people don't believe you, and yet if you just approach it slightly different, if you say to them, "There's a problem. What do you think they should do differently?" They'll tell you. If you just frame the question differently. So for me, flourishing will look like, like as great as Alternatives as an organisation is, and as much change as that's been able to bring, how great would it be if in 15, 20 years, there's a group of young people doing the same thing that live there? Yeah. If Alternatives kickstart something like that, or encourage the likes of yourself, Billy Joe, to be the one, but like the Pied Piper.
No, he says just from like being youth and messing about in our community, Alternatives had a lot of faith in me for being like, I was a messer, and that's why I was involved in Alternatives. So they had faith in me whenever I was like, why do they have faith in me? You sort of don't have faith in yourself at them times. You're never going to tell anyone that. I can't now, but it's good too. But the faith they shown in me, which I think that there is a problem, because whenever you sort of looked, if you were to do something bad in our community, it wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it would be like, oh, he's done it again, or he's done it worse, or he's just fallen. And it's the normality of being in Sandy Row slang, and that is it. And it's sort of something that whenever they have faith in me and sort of give me these opportunities, it's beyond me to actually be able to show people and tell people how much it's changed on my life for the better. So thank you, Alternatives, Tony and Trinity.
Well, thank you. So we've time for one more question. Maureen, here. Oh, is there somebody else? No, just all right.
It's not a question. I just wanted to go back to questions. And so I've been on the island since I was 12, and I've been in churches all that time up until probably a year ago when I stopped going. And I think just to answer the gentleman's question about how, can we expand charity, I think there's a huge disconnect in the churches in Ireland, especially here up in the north, where it's easy to go out on a mission, it's easy to give money away than to be truly inclusive in the churches. And I say this with a lot of trembling because I think I don't know what the disconnect is. It's easy to, feed a poor baby in Africa than to be kind and fully, and not to be racist within the churches. I've experienced so much racism in churches, not more than outside, probably around the same level, which is heartbreaking because the body of Christ should be different. So I would invite you to have a mindset shift when it comes to the things you've been told about foreigners in this country. Majority are working people on work visas. They pay about £4,000 a year whenever they're getting their visas renewed. They're not claiming benefits. You cannot access benefits unless you are a citizen. The refugees get £8 a week. £8. What could you do with £8 a week? Nothing. So things like that I would just like to encourage you to do better, to change that mind shift. So yeah, you can give money, but Jesus said, I was hungry and you fed me. And it's oftentimes, it's not the physical hunger, it's the spiritual hunger. And it's the hunger to belong. So that's what I wanted to say. It expands beyond just helping and giving money. It's how do you treat people in your space, in the spaces that they're...
Thank you, Maureen, for really bringing it home to us. And thank you to our friends in Katanga, Jalaya and Francis, Edward, Mark. I know Maureen's been listening. Maureen's the manager of the program. She's been listening. She helped organize everything. Thank you, Maureen. And our good friend Arnold there as well from here in 92. So thank you, and Mark. Thank you to all of them. And thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you especially to Trinity. And there'll be an opportunity to learn some Ugandan drums while we're having a cup of tea.
Hi guys. Oh my goodness, that's quite loud. Just a couple of things to close up after such a really great night. Thank you for everyone for sharing this evening. There are some donation buckets that will be at the door with the stewards and around the room. These festival events are free to attend, thanks to the combination of funding and donations from people like yourselves. So we would really thank you if you have supported us in this way, and if you have enjoyed this evening and you would like to donate or are able to donate to the festival on a monthly basis or on a one-off donation, we would really, really appreciate your support. And there's information on how to do this on the envelopes available this evening, or the code and posters on the display, and also on our website as well. And then we also would really appreciate if you could take a few minutes to fill out a questionnaire. There should be a QR code that comes up behind me on the post or on the posters, or you can answer it directly on the website, and a link will also be emailed to you in the coming days. It just really helps us to formulate the festival for next year and to see the engagement. So Yeah, thank you so much. There are refreshments available in the minor hall, which is just through this door. Miley is over there to direct you there. Some tea and coffee to continue the conversations that we've had. So thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.